I wouldn't say Volkanovski's a huge underdog against Islam Makhachev, but it's safe to say most people don't think Volkanovski has what it takes. They just don't think all 4'6" of him is quite enough to take down someone as elite as Islam Makhachev, who is considered by many to be the second best fighter pound for pound in the world. Now, what's funny is they're saying this about the number one pound for pound fighter in the world, and they also said the exact same thing last time. But I won't lie, it definitely is a pretty terrifying proposition to have to fight Islam Makhachev on 10 days' notice, and I can understand why some people think it's a bad idea. But one thing that is for sure is directly after the fight, Volkanovski was adamant with certain adjustments he could beat Islam. Well, Volk's grappling coach Craig Jones has come out in an interview and has revealed some game plan adjustments that could have huge implications on this fight. For those who don't know, Craig Jones is the best jiu-jitsu practitioner in the world, getting second place. He almost armbarred Gordon Ryan. He's a two-time ADCC silver medalist, and he also beat Felipe Pena. And you're pretty much caught up. So let's see what Craig had to say.
What will you do between now and the fight with Alex? What would you go through?
Well, the last fight we spent a ton of time on submission defense. Obviously, that's a waste of time because as we learned, Islam doesn't know any submissions, right? He just holds onto the back for 20 minutes. For this fight, this time we'll probably get out of the body triangle. Last time we were happy. Again, there was no submission threat at all. So Volks was just chilling, getting energy back, punching him in the head. This time, we'll get out of the back.
Now, obviously, Craig is just trying to stir the pot a little bit, have some playful banter, as they say in Australia. Islam does definitely have good submissions, but his submission threat, it's a bit different from a high-level jiu-jitsu guy. You see, someone like Charles Oliveira or Brian Ortega, they have a very high ability of starting in a neutral position and then jumping onto a submission and being able to finish it. Someone like Islam Makhachev, his strong suit is world-class positional grappling. What he does is he takes you down, he takes your base away, he knows how to distribute his weight on top of you to be as heavy as possible, and he is very good at taking the back. He definitely has submissions in his game, but his submissions come from breaking his opponents down, getting them fatigued or rocking them on the feet, and then taking what's left open because of that. After watching a bunch of Alex's vlogs leading up to the first Islam fight, and then also listening to Craig do interviews and podcasts afterwards, we know the two things he worked on with Volk was getting up from the turtle position and then submission defense. A lot of submission defense with the arm triangle, arm bar, and rear naked choke. But Craig's right, there was very, very little submission attempts, and I think it's for the simple reason that, as we stand right now, it is impossible to break Volkanovski down. You're not going to gas him out. It doesn't matter what kind of pace you put on him, he's gonna match it. However, he did take this fight on 10 days' notice. If there was ever a time for Volk to gas out in a fight, this would be it right here. But they don't seem to be worrying about it, so maybe he's in great shape. But let's take a look at the one submission attempt Islam had against Volk, and that came in the very first round.
Didn't have a neck.
We will find out. This is the man that we'll find out from.
Well, this is a face crank or a neck crank. Extremely painful.
Yeah, that was it. Now, you can 100% finish the neck crank from there. A lot of people don't realize it, but you can 100% put someone to sleep with a rear naked choke over someone's chin. 100%. But two things. One, the way Volk was turning his head to the side relieves a lot of pressure. It's going to require way more strength to finish it in a position like that. What makes it really tight is when the chin is pointed forward, like Alexa Grasso on Valentina Shevchenko. The other issue is, to finish the neck crank, you need your backhand to slide completely behind your opponent's head. Either that or grab the gable grip like Khabib had on Conor. Just keeping your hand on top of your opponent's head like Islam had here, that's not going to work. There's not enough pressure to finish it. Now, if you get the forearm under the chin and onto the throat, then you can finish it with the hand on top of the head. Then it requires significantly less force. But that's the thing about Volkanovski. He is so short, so compact. Getting a hold of his neck is extremely difficult. Getting a hold of another limb, like an armbar, that's going to be next to impossible on him. In the 4th round, when Islam was holding on to the body triangle, with about 45-ish seconds left, most people were expecting Islam to try to transition to something else. The round is already his. He held on to the body triangle for a good 3 minutes. So how about transition to an armbar? But Islam didn't want to do it despite armbar being one of his preferred submissions. Against Drew Dober, who he was just smashing, he's willing to take risks going for armbars like that. But against Volkanovski, he didn't want to take any risk. So Craig's recognizing, we don't need to focus so much on submission defense. The two important things Volkanovski needs to perfect is escaping the body triangle, which is extremely difficult to do, and preventing hooks from the back in the first place, especially from out in the open. The majority of the time, most grappling exchanges happened against the fence. But in the 4th round, when he gave up the body triangle, it was because they were out in the open, and Volk tried crawling towards the cage. If he had instead used his arms to close up the space around his body, the fight could have been completely different.